Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. It was a very difficult weekend in Israel. So my next guest, Dr. Michael Oren, former Israeli ambassador to the United States, former deputy minister in a previous Netanyahu government, is a regular guest on the program. He's the founder of the Israel Advocacy Group. I just thought I'd give him the floor to tell us about everything. How are you, Doctor? Take it away.
We're good. We're hanging tough. I thought about this moment because, as you know, Hugh, before I was ambassador, before I was in Knesset, I was a historian, a military historian. And I want to say unequivocally that I can think of just almost no example, certainly in modern history, perhaps in all of history, with the one exception of that year in 1940 where Churchill battled alone during the Battle of Britain during his darkest hour, where all of history, where regional peace, certainly in the Middle East, but even world peace, hinges on one man, hinges on one person, that is the President of the United States. And if that president stays the course and stands up in the face of tremendous pressures, and believe me, in Israel, we know the pressures he's under, then everything in this region can change. We're not talking just about the peace between Israel and Lebanon, peace in Israel and Syria, but a strategic arc that extends from the Mediterranean to the shores of the Ganges under a Pax Americana, where Russia will be humbled and China will be humbled, and everything can change. This is one of these extraordinary hinges of his history, where it can go in two directions, but we ardently hope it will go in this direction. Tonight, the president has talked about a negotiation with the Iranians, and I'd be remiss in not saying that there's not a certain amount of nervousness in this country. We've gone through an extraordinarily difficult month. We've all been under fire, including my family and everyone's families. And we hope that during these negotiations, as President Trump indicated tonight, that our fundamental interests will be addressed, which is the end of the Iranian nuclear threat, the end of the Iranian ballistic threat, and the end of Iranian support for terrorist groups who are seeking to destroy us. And we hope also that our army can continue to battle Hezbollah in the north, because frankly, if Hezbollah is not beaten back, then we will lose the Galilee. We'll lose half this country. People simply will not go and live there. So it's close to an existential threat for this country. So it's just this extraordinary moment. I really don't know any like it, Hugh. Maybe you do, other than that 1 year of Churchill's darkest hour, where everything depended on one person and his strength, his vision, his character. And we ardently hope that the direction will turn to the direction of regional world peace. Our hope.
You know, Dr. Oren, that's a very interesting observation, because this is a pivot point for the world. And if Iran can be brought to heel and turned into even a quasi-normal country, all sorts of vistas open up for not Pax Americana, but a second American century with its ally. Its closest ally is now Israel, and I doubt that anyone would argue with that. And Europe is old and exhausted. I'm just very disappointed with Europe. I am curious if people in Israel are alarmed by the president's very ambiguous, I think he's just playing the Iranians against each other. What do you think?
One can't know. One can only hope. One has to couch many things when dealing with the president in terms of hope. And the good news is that the vast majority of our hopes have played out vis-a-vis the president, in recognizing Jerusalem as our capital, recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, the Abraham Accords. There's one hope after another that has been realized by the president, getting our hostages back from Gaza. How about that one? And we hope now again that in negotiating with whomever he is negotiating, it's not quite clear with whom he's negotiating, that person will have the authority, will have the plenipotentiary ability to actually make those decisions. Now, I've got to be skeptical because I come from a background of Middle Eastern history, and to have Iran give up its nuclear program, to have it give up its ballistic program and support for terrorists is telling the Iranian regime to give up its DNA. It's not going to be the same regime anymore. It's something completely different. Is that about to happen? Again, I'll couch it as a hope, but I can't say with any certainty that is likely to happen. Will the Iranians turn around? This is actually an interesting question that's been raised several times in my media interviews with Israeli media tonight, is will the Iranians say to the president, okay, we'll have a ceasefire, but you've got to call the Israelis off our boys in Lebanon, off of Hezbollah. And that would be a very difficult call for the prime minister to make. The prime minister may have to turn around to say to the president, I'm sorry, I can't do that. We have half the country displaced tonight. The Iranians may say, well, okay, in that case, we're going to keep Hormuz closed, and the gas prices are going to go up. So there are many, many moving pieces here and tremendous amount of uncertainty in the state of Israel. One thing is certain is that our pilots continue to fight tonight. They're flying over Iran as we speak, and our forces are on the ground in Lebanon fighting back Hezbollah.
And American pilots are in the air. CENTCOM released a video of them striking Iranian targets. Earlier today, Dan Senor said the only time he can remember a working relationship between two heads of government as close as Netanyahu and Trump is as between Margaret Thatcher and President Reagan, to which I'd like to add, as unlikely as it might seem, there was Helmut Kohl and Francois Mitterrand as well, as you'll remember, during the last years of the Cold War. I think that might turn out to be MBS and MBZ. Odd as that might be, I think those four are the key players here.
Or Roosevelt and Churchill, not to belabor the Churchill example. And certainly, and today, I think we can say this unequivocally, the United States has exactly one dependable military ally in the world. And,
yep.
and I'm sitting in it. And not just a dependable military ally, but a dependent military ally that is willing to go shoulder to shoulder with the United States and not, play a secondary role to be a full partner. So that to me is an extraordinary accomplishment. And I don't think anybody responsible in Washington would somehow want to squander that extraordinary asset.
Well, I'll be talking with Senator Cotton next hour. I'll ask him about that. But I got 1 minute left, Dr. Oren. The interoperability of the IDF and the American Navy, the pilot, it's just extraordinary to me. We've never operated like this in my lifetime because I wasn't around for World War II. They're simply, there's no division between their division of labor.
It's lockstep. It is. Unfortunately, it's a war, but otherwise, it's a beautiful thing to see. And if you listen to some of the communication between our pilots and the American pilots, you see that we are allies in the fullest sense of the word here. And it is. I think it's a message to the entire world. A cautionary tale. I think a cautionary tale for Europe. I think there's going to be a lot to answer for with Europe and NATO when this is over.
I agree with that. Dr. Michael Oren. Follow him on X at Dr. Michael Oren. Go look up the Israel Advocacy Group, which he founded. Be a part of helping to tell the story of the Jewish state. And thank you very much, Dr. Oren. Stay safe. I know it was a rough weekend, and my condolences to those in Israel who are listening who lost someone this weekend. Don't go anywhere, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt.